This wasn't. We
But it
weren't
just makes
voting
them
for
look.
the president.
It makes them look like amateur. Let's face it.
Yeah.
They look kind of stupid. Do we agree
And
on?
I
Can we
think-
agree on that? They
Oh,
look stupid?
absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Which.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Voice of the Radical Center. My name is Jonathan Langley.
And I'm Jackie Nowak.
Welcome, Jackie. And there's been a lot going on.
Oh my gosh, this week has been busy.
So, because, as I've said this before, and I know you know I mean it with love and affection, you're our Hermione Granger.
Okay.
If we ask you on the show to do one thing, you'll do 20. So I know you watched. I know you watched the debate.
I did.
I also know you watched the State of the Union.
I did.
So rather than, and I'm not going to make fun of the Wall Street Journal's op-eds this week.
Okay.
Because we had some people write saying that we were communists. So I guess that just should intimidate me, but it's not going to. Plus they really didn't say anything this week that upset me, so I'm not too worried about it. But let's get your take on. I'm really curious. Give me your take on the debate. Let's start there. The Democratic debate. Well, I have some coffee. I'm ready. So the floor is yours. Give me your take on what's going on.
I think it was a clarification for people who don't know the candidates the way we know the candidates. Mm-hmm. It kind of just clarified who they are, what they stand for. I think the person who really probably had the biggest bump and had a really good debate is Amy Klobuchar.
I read that. Why was that? If you actually, I didn't watch it.
She was very assertive in her positioning. So when people said, okay, what if, I think it was one of the moderators said something to the effect of, what are you going to say to a person who doesn't want the further left agenda that, say, Sanders and Warren want? Mm-hmm. And she said, vote for me, because she's a moderate. And she.
Do you really think, is she a moderate?
Yes, she is. She absolutely is.
Is she? Okay.
Yeah, she's been a senator, and she's been in politics for a lot of years, mm-hmm. and she's a moderate. Her record shows it. She's got a lot of endorsements from local papers in Iowa and in New Hampshire and in New York, I think.
Okay, so let me ask you this then, right? Because we are going to tackle, once again, serious topics.
Okay.
We have tackled in the past climate change, bullying, and all sorts of things. And climate change caused a few hateful emails. But before we get to what we're going to do today, which is, of course, Medicare for all, I do need to dig deeper into your view of the Democratic Party.
Okay.
Because I've spoken about this before with you, that they should have done this a year ago, got it out the way, don't hit each other over the head 6 months before an election. That's basically, or 9 months, whatever it is. What was your take about what happened in Iowa then with the caucus?
It's such a shame, but at the same time, I'm slightly overjoyed by it.
Why?
I know, that sounds very counterintuitive. Mm-hmm. I was very pleased because I think it's a really dumb way to go about electing a president. The caucusing...
You mean where they sort of sit in a room?
Yes,
people go in a room and you divide yourselves up?
In order to vote...
Yeah.
You have to commit 3 or 4 hours of your life to sitting in a gymnasium, sitting in a room, mm-hmm. and not everybody's willing to do that. So it is not representative of the people, right?
Yeah.
It might be easier for older retired people who don't have to get up and go to work the next day, maybe students. So we did see that a couple of the caucuses were held on campuses, but it's not representative of working moms or families.
So
because you're not going to go spend the evening, outside of your family.
And I read also that in a way it can be intimidating for some people because if you're one of the few people caucusing for one person in particular, it's pretty obvious who you are.
Plus, you have to be loud and proud about, hey, the fact that I'm either voting for Bernie or maybe I wanted to vote for Yang, but it is intimidating for everybody to see your vote. So we're supposed to vote in private in a booth.
Exactly. So then, as they say in the UK, where I just will point out once again, I am an American, but obviously I have a British background, and I very proudly say I'm an American. The fact is, what we would say in England. There's a phrase, a slang word we use for cock-ups like this. It's called when things go pear-shaped.
Okay.
Pear-shaped, shape of a pear, sort of goes like that, where everything falls.
I like that. I might have to use it.
Everything
Yeah.
falls to the bottom, pear-shaped. What this whole thing with the app, not everything going wrong, and the Democrats looking foolish. I don't think it's that big a deal, because really, who cares?
Well, that was the other part. So we know about where people are. We knew that who the winners and who the losers were the night of.
Uh-huh.
We had a general idea. So what? This wasn't. We
But it
weren't
just makes
voting
them
for
look.
the president.
It makes them look like amateur hour. Let's face it.
Yeah.
They look kind of stupid. Can we agree
And
on?
I
Can we
think-
agree on that? They
Oh,
look stupid?
absolutely.
Okay, all right.
Which I think they made too much of it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to test an app. It just the fact that 60, 70, and 80-year-old workers at the polls, I need to know how to download it.
And they couldn't even
First
get
of all,
through on the phone.
Or what
apparently.
if they, you have to know like where to go on your Android if you don't have an iPhone. And was it, obviously it wasn't explained to people how this works.
And
so,
the other big problem I have with this whole thing, though, it puts on, if you just forget for 1 second the fact that these it went pear-shaped.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and that's a trademark. I'm going to charge you if you want to use it. It went pear-shaped. The fact is that it still didn't solve anything. We still, at the end of the day, you've got still 6 or 7 people running to be
it's
elected.
not meant to solve
No,
things,
I know, but
it's
then
supposed
the
to
Iowa
whittle it
caucus,
down.
and it
Right.
didn't do that. And then second of all, we still have Bloomberg.
Yeah, who's not going to even involve himself.
So a couple of things. So I was speaking to friends when they were way off topic. I do have paperwork, as usual, on the Medicare for all. But I do have friends of mine who are Democrat, and I know I'm an independent, even though my friends think I'm a communist. That they felt they had no choice now but to support Bloomberg.
Okay, that's bizarre.
As a Democrat,
That
meaning
makes
these
no
are
sense.
Democratic
Why?
voters.
Why do they suddenly feel this urge
Because
to...
no one else is going to win. They just feel no one is capable of beating Donald Trump.
Well, keep saying that, and it's sort of a self-fulfilling thing, but I don't...
They don't think
I don't buy
Buttigieg
into
is.
it.
They definitely don't think Bernie is. They definitely don't think Elizabeth Warren is.
What if
So
they
who's that
did
leave?
something like a Buttigieg-Bernie ticket?
Oh my God, they would hate that. Oh my goodness me.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then I had for Super Bowl.
Buttigieg is very moderate.
Yeah, I know.
So what part
but
of
Bernie,
that-
Bernie slash Buttigieg is what
Oh.
I'm saying. I think it's what you said, right? So
Well, I think that by getting them both, you don't divide
Mm.
the Democrats the way that they were divided between Clinton and Bernie last time.
Anyway,
Well,
I'm just telling you, I've spoken to several other people too after this friend of mine told me that he's supporting Bloomberg now, because just to cut the clutter out, just to cut the BS and move forward.
that's the most ridiculous reason
I've
to
had
vote
two
for a
other people.
president.
I've had two other people tell me that already.
I think they need
Absolutely,
to
yeah.
just to clear the clutter. That's the reason you want to vote for a president. It's not
Well,
very smart.
in this case, they want to beat Trump, so they're saying he's the only guy that can do it.
Yeah,
That's
we
the
all
point.
want to beat Trump. I don't know. I mean, maybe he can beat Trump. We have yet to see what he brings to the ticket.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
He's not been tested.
No, he hasn't.
He hasn't been in debates. We
True.
don't know.
Do you
His
think- do you think he-
likability factor may be 0.
Well, okay. And then I actually, for Super Bowl, I had some friends over. We watched the game, and they're all, most of my friends, I've told you before, we do live in Austin, Texas, are right-wingers, and they think I'm a communist. And every one of those men to a T, this is all guys, were going to vote again for Trump. Mm-hmm. And every one of them, when I brought up things like, do you not believe the 19 women, and he ordered by $2 million to pay back money for his charity, he didn't care.
Right.
It's really interesting to me. Yeah, these are the same people who, one of my best friends even said to me, long years ago, he didn't want John McCain because he had an anger management problem. I was like, what?
So these
I know.
same
It's
people,
just, the same people.
I find it
The
so
same-
amazing that
same
we're so
people.
appalled by Pelosi
Same people.
tearing up the State of the Union address. Put up with anything Trump does.
Okay, so
that's a whole
so
other story. That
we
was
do
amazing.
need to boil the ocean on Medicare for all, but I do want to talk about the
Yeah, we got to chat about the week before we get into the topic.
So
right?
so tell me, you watched the State of the Union, or I'm assuming most of it. What did you think of Pelosi tearing up the speech at the end? Good idea, bad
At first,
idea?
it was shocking. Like you're just going, "Oh my gosh, why are we going there?" And then after I thought of it, I went, "Yeah, that deserved to be torn up." It was.
You watched it, so what was it like?
It was very partisan. It usually in the past, and most people watching this are probably people who are into politics to begin with.
And hopefully
But-
independent and free thinkers like us.
Well,
Apparently we're not, according to some people, though,
Okay.
according to the emails.
you're-
Thank you very
you're
much.
so obvious. But so no,
I
lost
interrupted
my-
your train
yeah.
of thought. You were talking about the partisanship of
Okay,
the...
so
yeah.
right, the State of the Union is supposed to tell us the state of everybody's union. It's supposed to. Usually, it's a very unifying address, and it was straight up a Trump rally, and it was very. It wasn't inclusive of everybody. Now he did include some African Americans and Tuskegee Airmen,
He wants
but
them.
it was very theatrical, and it was a well done Trump rally. And I think they even said like 1/3 of the time spent at the State of the Union, and I know this is not just for Trump, this is with every president, is spent clapping. Could we like
I know, why do
hold
they do
the
that?
applause, people?
Why do they do
Because
that?
I don't have the time for that.
No, that is a
I
kind of a
guess unless
strange
you've
thing.
got the fast forward button,
Yeah.
it's
You should
very
you should
painful.
DVR it next
Yeah.
time, and maybe there should be a setting on your DVR. You know how they can skip through 30 seconds of commercials?
Right.
Maybe there's one it can sense how long the
The
applause
clapping.
the applause is, and just automatically get rid of it.
And
See,
so,
I should patent that idea. I think that's a good idea.
There you go. So there were some definite misrepresentations in the State of the Union. One of the things that Trump said
What are you
was,
looking up right now? Are you just trying to...
no, it's my
I thought
list.
you were looking at
of-
pictures or doing
well,
texting while we're doing the show. That
Yes,
was all.
I have a list
Okay.
of some of the things that Trump said about protecting pre-existing conditions.
Oh, yes, now they want to get-
while he's taking the Affordable Care Act to court to get
You
rid
know
of
why
that.
he wants to get rid of it? Because it's not
Well,
his
he-
idea.
Right. He just wants to trash the whole thing. And he may even still, I think he will be forced to, honestly, once America got a taste of having, insurance companies accept pre-existing conditions.
Why would you ever
But
take it away?
Why would you ever take it away?
Why
but
would you?
if you only include sick people or people who have pre-existing conditions, that's why it's got to be mandatory for
So
everyone.
that's a great segue. Were you
Is-
planning on that segue
I
into
absolutely
Medicare for
was.
all?
All part of my plan.
Wow, that's very good. Okay.
Yeah.
So, at the end of that, just to be clear though, on the State of the Union, I didn't watch it. I read about it. Just to be fair to everybody, I never watch it. It's not because it's him. I don't watch any of them. I probably should, but I don't.
It's kind of what you do.
Yeah, but was it?
Well,
Do you think
isn't
most-
this what we do?
Well, I
It's
know.
gotta be
I know.
important.
I should be watching it. I understand, but I
Okay.
didn't. So, from your point of view, it was a Trump rally. You think
Yeah.
what Pelosi did? I wasn't clear. Do you think she should have torn it up or not torn it up?
I don't blame her.
No, you don't blame.
I don't blame her. And
Okay.
granted, I don't want us all to be like becoming Trump and being, just getting rid of all tradition and all civility and all. But man, this is a country that I was thinking about. It just keeps coming into mind all week. Divided we stand.
Yeah.
And that's a real shame.
And so we fired the colonel. What was his name? Not Vinkman.
Vindman.
Vindman, because Vinkman's the guy from Ghostbusters.
Not
but-
only did he get rid of Vindman, he got rid of Vindman's brother.
who's a twin.
Yeah.
And the reason
But they were both at the White House.
but the
so
reason-
they haven't been completely fired. They've been reassigned.
That's what I thought. And the reason they reassigned both of them is because they're twins. They couldn't tell which one was Vindman or not. So that's why they did it. They had to. They
you
weren't
have to
sure.
assume one person thinks this way, they both must.
They weren't sure which one was which, so they had to fire both of them in case they switched uniforms.
Identities, exactly.
Yes. Okay. All right. So it's just a
Yeah.
thought.
No, it's a possibility.
And it's true. They have not been fired. They still have
No.
government jobs, right? They've
Right.
just been not allowed in the White House anymore.
Exactly.
Now, the fact that they got rid of the EU,
Sondland.
that was real. I thought that was brilliant. Not because I supported Trump getting rid of him, but because Sondland deserved it.
Okay, explain. What did he do?
Number one, he was totally useless at his job.
Do you know that?
Yes, they're absolutely true. Absolutely true.
Okay.
Well,
Then maybe
I've
he
read
shouldn't have been
about it.
hired in the first
Exactly.
place.
Well, you know the
Okay.
reason. You know why he was hired, though, right?
Because he donated $1 million.
Exactly. He donated $1 million.
But is that how ambassadors, or do they come up through the ranks?
Well,
It's a little bit of both,
It's a bit
right?
of both. It's a bit of pandering, a bit of nepotism, and a bit of hopefully you've got the skill.
Okay.
Right. And then clearly in this case he didn't. I will say this about him though. He did show a bit of backbone by coming out and saying what happened. Remember, about the phone call.
About testifying?
About testifying.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. He did. So I'll give him credit for that.
And here's the shame of it. Even Vindman, they were subpoenaed by the House.
Yeah, they were subpoenaed. They had to go.
They had to go.
Yes.
Now, Trump tried to tell everybody not to go because,
Right.
ignore these subpoenas. But I'll be honest, if I'm subpoenaed by the House of Representatives, chances are I'm going to show up
I think so.
and do my duty.
You know what?
And that's what they did.
Maybe
That's a
this
shame.
show will become big enough where we get subpoenaed.
No,
Once
no, it's not a goal.
Actually,
It's not what I
wait a minute.
aspire
That
to.
should be our goal. That
No,
should be our goal to be
that's okay.
subpoenaed by Lindsey Graham. That should be our goal. Lindsey, please subpoena us. Then we could write a book like
Yeah.
him,
John,
whatever. Is
it John? Yeah.
the beard guy? Why can't I remember his
please.
damn name? The guy with the mustache.
I know.
Oh my God, it's terrible. ADD's kicking in. Him.
Yes.
Yes. Whatever. I guess we don't care about him. All right. So we're gonna. You came up with once again. You always come up with these hard topics for us to talk about.
Challenging.
Challenge. Okay, I like that. Challenging topics to talk about. And the Medicare for all is a big topic because we've done healthcare a few times.
Right.
And you got mad at me once for saying stop talking about healthcare, but then you suggest healthcare.
No,
It's true. That's what happened.
I get
It's
mad
what
at
I have.
you
It's what I have to put up
I
with.
get mad at him a lot, and okay. So this is a little bit different take on it, so that's why it'll come out
All
as
right.
a little bit more fresh.
All right.
So
Medicare for all.
yes,
So
what
let's,
is it?
Let's start with some. Can I start with some facts though?
Well, tell us what it is first.
Oh, well, Medicare for all there's different variations of Medicare for
Okay.
all. So Medicare for all and universal health care. So Medicare for all is essentially where everybody pays through their taxes. The government takes the money and redistributes it to pay
Socialized medicine.
for the bill. Well, we have something called Social Security. We do have the S word in there a few times.
Well, and
for things
what
that we
people don't
do.
understand all the time is there's a lot of social services
Absolutely.
that we expect from our country.
Yes.
And it's not just Social Security, but what about the policemen, the firemen,
Medicaid,
school teachers?
Medicare.
That's all socialized.
Yes. And hey, listen, tariffs of socialism. Picking winners and losers. I didn't think we were allowed
Farm
to do
aid.
that.
We gave a lot
Yes.
of farmers
That's
a
what
lot of subsidies, and
We've
that's
just spent more money.
socialism.
We've just spent more money bailing out the farmers than we ever did for the auto industry.
I know. What do you think Trump supporters, if the left began
I should point out
talking about?
you're an independent. Just to be clear, because when you say the left, pointing at yourself, you
Well,
mean
I'm using my hands like this, but
Okay.
I'm not very independent. I'm not going to lie about that.
All right.
Okay.
I am. I am.
Anyway, so, but if the left started calling Trump a socialist for bailing out the farmers,
They should. They absolutely should.
What's the difference? Yeah.
Because he bailed out the farmers because of
to
his
the
own
tune
tax.
of $28
$28 billion,
Yeah.
which will never be repaid. The
Right.
reason the auto industry bailout was less because they paid it back.
Well, it was only 12 or 18 billion or something.
It was
anyway,
well,
right?
they had to bail out General Motors, and Ford didn't take any money, as I recall.
But we got that money back.
That's what I'm saying. We got the money
Yeah.
back, yeah. And then, and then steel industry. That was socialism, propping up the steel industry. We're not, we're not letting capitalism work its ugly way through. So that is socialism,
Right.
And
We do a lot of it, and
yeah.
we just don't label it.
no, and
But
so
for some reason with healthcare, we choose
right.
to
So
label.
so before we get to that, can we just go through some stats? Can I just
yes,
do this?
please do.
This is where I have to take my glasses off so I can read. So here's some basic facts, right? This is from 2016. We've done this before, but this leads us up to why we think we need Medicare for all or universal health care, whatever you want to call it. 2016, this is the latest stats I have. The United States, we know this is about the same as today, spent twice as much as the 10 highest income countries, which includes countries such as UK, Canada, Germany, Australia, France, Sweden, and so on, and basically other well-industrialized, wealthy countries. And at the end of the day, the U.S. spent I'm going to round these numbers, 18% of its GDP, we know this, close to 20% goes on healthcare, whereas the average is about 10% for the UK, for example. The highest is Switzerland at 12, and the lowest is Australia at 9.6. All the rest hover around 10%. Now, the main point in bringing this up is not that the United States spends more per person on healthcare. We spend more per person on healthcare for worse results. Right. This is the part that doesn't make any sense to me. And you've heard me say this, and I want your take on it. But life expectancy in the U.S. of the 11 countries which I just gave you an outline from is essentially 79 years. But the average for the other countries ranges from 81 to 84. Now, I'm assuming 84 is somewhere like Sweden or Switzerland. If you take out the small, tiny countries with a population of 5 million, you just have to sort of take those out because it's very easy to manage that size population. It's probably closer to 81 or 82. Here's the other problem. You would have thought we would have had more nurses and physicians and hospital beds as a percentage of the population than all those other countries.
Oh.
We don't.
Oh, okay. Now, see, that's something new that I didn't know.
No, we don't. As far as number of physicians as a percentage of the workforce, obviously it's a bigger country. This is where we have more people, so we're going to have more physicians. No, that's not true. As a percentage, it's 2.6 physicians per 1,000 people in the United States, and that's pretty much identical to these other countries, and 43% of those are primary care physicians. The one that was most interesting.
Okay, so we do have about the same amount.
The same, but we're spending twice as much with no better results. Is my point.
Okay.
And then the other one is the the number of where was it? The number of how long you have to wait. Well, it's true. If you want a knee, I looked it up. I just picked up hip replacements. Well, in the UK, it's about 20 weeks to get a knee replaced or a hip replaced, whereas in the US, it's still some time. It's 10 to 12 weeks, but it's about half, let's say, 60 to 50% less. On the other hand,
well, I think nobody likes the idea of being on a waiting list,
but it's still 10 weeks in this country or 12 weeks. On the other hand, if you don't have any health insurance, you never go.
I've actually known a couple people who needed heart surgery that had no insurance, and their wait was devastatingly long. I mean, years of waiting until they could either say that it was so bad that it was emergent, right? So
if you don't have health insurance, you put off going to see a primary care physician.
Your primary care physician is not going to offer you an elective surgery.
Correct. You have to go see a specialist.
Open heart surgery would be an elective surgery unless you're in the middle of a heart attack, right?
So here's the other big one. The number of beds, hospital beds, is about the same as the other countries. So it's not like there's any more hospital beds.
What some people are going to say is misleading is not talking about doctors' pay.
Oh, no, I have that.
That's what I would like to know.
I've got all that. I've got all that here, too. No, hey, what a segue. What a team. It's right here. Okay. I got it highlighted in yellow. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question then, seeing as you brought it up. But here's the big one. Here's two big ones. Pharmaceutical costs per capita in the U.S. on average is $1,500 per year for the average across all people. So some people may not have any, and some people may spend $100,000, right?
Right.
Whereas in the other countries, $500.
Okay.
So it's 1/3 is the average. But here's the one we were talking about: salaries of physicians in the United States, on average. This average for a generalist physician was 200,000 and change. Let's say 225. Whereas in these other countries, it ranges from 86 to 154. So let's say half to 2/3.
And that's also one of the ways that you can keep the cost down, right?
Right. So,
but if you eliminate a lot of their paperwork, I don't know. I mean, nobody wants to take a pay cut, right?
No.
But if you eliminate a lot of their headaches and their billing and their staff,
if you have a healthier population.
No, but it also helps the physician, right? So if his job is easier, then maybe he doesn't make as much money.
Yeah.
It's just a theory.
So here's the question for you, because I did my
Okay.
homework here.
Yes, and as did I.
Obviously. Okay, well, I'm waiting for yours. I do
I
want
have
to.
it right here.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so bottom line is, there's no debate, Republican or Democrat. This is not a political statement. I think it's safe to say we don't have to boil the ocean. United States pays more than nearly twice as much per head count for healthcare for worse results across the board, except for one,
I don't
cancer.
know if everybody's going to agree with you for worse results for them. So that's what a lot of people have really great insurance, and
No, but they're paying for it.
yes,
A lot.
I know.
They're paying more
And
than
they're
paying.
okay with
They're
that.
paying twice as much as they would in other countries for
Yes.
worse results. No, that's not true. If your chance of
If life expectancy is your only result,
no,
that
it's infant mortality, child mortality, maternal
yes,
mortality.
but rich people in America that pay for their own insurance have great
Okay,
results.
but that's okay. So
okay. So there,
no, but that's not true either. If you go and have heart surgery in the U.S.,
Mm-hmm.
your mortality rate is higher than these other countries. That's what I'm saying. Yes, you may have access to it because you have great health insurance, but the result, once you, even if all things being equal, you have health insurance here or you have universal coverage there, once you go in to have a hip replaced or a open heart surgery or to have anything done after that, as what you called elective, although having heart surgery to stay alive doesn't sound elective to me. It's like imminent death, is no better than other countries. The only thing the U.S. is better in is cancer research or cancer coverage. That's it.
yes, but you don't understand what I'm saying.
I
I'm
do.
saying that the people who get the short end of the stick are generally the people without insurance.
No, but I'm
or
agreeing with you.
Are poor.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying, let's say you and I both have great health insurance, but I'm in the UK and my health insurance is from the government. For want of a better phrase, I'm using insurance. My coverage is from the UK government, and you have it in the US. You and I both go in for the same operation, whatever that. Let's say open heart surgery.
Your results are
the
gonna be-
results are the same. That's
Okay.
what I'm saying.
Okay.
The difference is in this country, a lot of people don't go for the reasons you just said because they don't have health insurance, so they're worse
Right.
off.
And so they're worse off because we're not doing the preventative care,
Right.
because that is something
Okay,
that is
I do want to
useful
get
for-
into why we're in this mess, and I want to hear your take on it. So before I hear from you, this is another test.
Okay.
Medical bankruptcies. People go bankrupt because they
Yes.
can't even today. So this is a 2019 number. You can see if you're looking closely. I crossed out 2007 because I had to do some research to find 2019. What out of all the bankruptcies in the United States, when people go broke because for whatever reason, right, can't afford the mortgage or whatever, what do you think the ratio is, percentage of the people that go bankrupt? How many of those are filing because they can't, because of health?
It's the number one reason.
It is the
people
number
go
one
bankrupt
reason.
in
Now, what is
America.
the ratio,
It's-
though, you think?
I don't
50%,
I don't
30%?
understand what I'm putting a ratio to.
So if 100% of people go bankrupt,
It's
30. 30%, you're saying, go bankrupt?
Due to medical,
Be medical? Way off. Keep going.
50.
Way off.
Oh,
62%.
okay.
62% of Americans who file for bankruptcy do so because of some kind of health care bill.
Yeah.
62%.
Well, because that would be the number one reason you have to stay home from work or, leave your
that's
job.
a great
or-
point. That's a great point. If you can't work, there's no income to pay the bill in the first place.
It's a huge problem.
That's actually, I hadn't even thought of that. Very good. Now, obviously, universal health care is no free lunch, right? We know that. There's a downside to it.
Right. And I think the VA in the United States
Mm-hmm.
is problematic. And people associate that with what everybody across America would
Mm-hmm.
get. And I don't think it's emblematic of it, because if every person had the same benefit,
Mm-hmm.
had the same opportunity, and everybody's in the pool, I think it raises the level.
Okay,
of
so what have you,
everything.
I've got...
Well, the
I've-
stuff that I researched was who are the people for Medicare for all.
Oh, okay, that's a
What
great
would
question.
it cost us, right?
Right, I've got
So
that too, but who are the people? I
We've
didn't know, I
got
don't know that.
Bernie and Warren. Even Yang has backed off on Medicare for all right off the bat.
But it's Bernie's idea of Medicare for all is you can't have private health insurance, right?
And that is Elizabeth Warren as well. They want to abolish, because what happens if you don't have everybody in the existing pool of insurance, then it doesn't lower the cost. If you only have half the people in there, then the costs don't go down as
I
dramatically
understand,
as if
but you know what?
everybody's in
Here's
it.
the way. I think it becomes. It'll happen through osmosis.
Right.
If more people, if I'm a IBM or GE or someone, and I'm paying $9,000 a year per employee, I've got it, $9,000 a year per employee for health insurance. I could literally lower my costs by not having to cover
Right.
these people.
And so
I would encourage them to move to a government plan.
well, of course you would. And that was one of my issues with the whole plan of Medicare for all. So right now, companies are subsidizing it.
Yes, they are.
Where's all that money going to go?
And
Why
they're
do
subsidizing it.
do we want to take the companies that are willing to pay for it, give them a free ride and just say, no, we'll take care of that now. So I think there should be like some sort of place where companies like slowly back off of it maybe, but if 10% of their profits go towards subsidizing insurance,
Well, it goes-
can we continue that with Medicare for all? I don't know.
It either goes to you subsidize healthcare for people if they work for you in a large corporation, either by A, taking that out of your profits, or B,
Right.
paying them less
Yeah.
than you would otherwise pay them. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
so
it's...
maybe they would.
So this reminds me of a situation in the UK, actually, where everybody used to get company cars.
Oh.
It was like you work for a company. Part of the deal was most people got a free vehicle.
Wow.
It was part of the deal until the government came along and said, well, we're going to start taxing that as a perk because it's money.
Yeah, sure.
And you know what? That freed up the market because the companies were quite happy for that. They didn't want to keep paying for these company cars. So
Yeah,
what they
got
did,
a little out of control.
It got a little out of control. So the market changed dynamically,
Right.
Dramatically in the UK of how people purchase their cars.
And so that's a little bit like how Pete Buttigieg is saying, Medicare for all who want it.
Correct.
And let it slowly
Yes.
prove
That's how it
that
should
it's
be.
a better way to go.
Yes.
And that's kind of what the Affordable Care Act was meant to do.
Yeah.
To bring people in who wanted it. It wasn't like to force people off of their insurance. And if you have great insurance, why would you want to change?
Yeah, and that was interesting.
That's going to take a lot of people kicking and screaming into a plan that they don't want. And I just feel
I
like
agree.
that is...
And you're asking for trouble, and why do that?
Yeah, why do it?
It's funny you say that. I was actually talking to someone the other day in my other life who is in tech, which, as you know, is my background. And I'm not going to name the company, but she works for a very large... I was going to say telco, but it's not really anymore. These companies have evolved. It's not AT&T. And I asked her what she was paying for a family of four for health insurance. And her deal was fantastic. It was only like $250, let's say $300 a month.
Because the
company's subsidizing it. Other companies, on the other hand, that I'm very aware of in tech, they charge, or rather their programs, for something similar by the sounds of it. Again, it's very loose. Can't compare plans. For a family of four, it's closer to $1,000 a month. So in this case, it's one company. Maybe they're old-fashioned. Maybe they're more paternal. You know, they want to take care of their people.
Yeah. Or maybe they're paying her less in order to subsidize her insurance.
Correct. That's possible too. I didn't get into any of that. But the point is that individual might not want to give up that policy,
Right.
and she shouldn't have to.
And another issue is that insurance companies in America are about 13% of our economy. So if that were to go away tomorrow, you know how many people you put out of work?
Well, I don't think it would happen. It's like saying...
No. Well, so Bernie Sanders says he will do this by executive order.
Yeah, but you see, that's...
And it's got to get through the Senate. It doesn't
Well, I
make
don't know
sense.
why Donald Trump does a whole bunch of stuff through executive order. I would
Well,
just say this.
is
I
that
didn't know,
really where we want our
I didn't know
our
we
president
had...
to go?
No, we don't, because I didn't realize we had an emperor or a
Right.
king or a czar, but apparently we do. Hey, so here's the other problem with all this. Why haven't we got there? A question for you again. I love these.
It's money. What?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so what is the lob? How many... Okay. How much... Sorry for all the noise if you're listening to us on the internet, because I'm shuffling paper around. What do you think... This is for 2019. 2019. I'm not... You can see
That's
that.
a graph, yeah.
It's a graph. How many lobbyists are there in the health? And lobbyists, you know how many there are because they have to register.
Right.
So they have to tell you. So how many lobbyists are there?
That lobby for
healthcare?
healthcare?
As opposed...
Like whether it's prescription drugs
right.
or
So in 20, for example, I'll give you a clue.
doctors' unions.
In 2000, so 20 years ago, or 19, because this is obviously for 2019, in the year 2000, there were 1,500 lobbyists for the healthcare industry. How many do you think today?
5,000.
Actually, you're not too far. 4,000.
4,000,
So
okay.
that's grown exponentially. And it's because clearly there's the insurance industry and the doctors and physicians.
Well,
and,
I think that with the ACA, a lot changed, right? There were people for it, there were people against it, and they ramped up the the topic, right? So if they were into for a fight because they didn't want their jobs to go away,
So
and they
six-
don't want us to be able to bid on pharmaceuticals or
That's
to
a
lower
big
the
one.
cost.
I'm
Yeah.
glad. God, you're in a good segue-waving mood today because that's one of my. I have it right here. These will all be posted on the video so you can see them in real time. But if you're on the internet, obviously you have to read it. But yes, the pharmaceutical industry, which they dump with health products, which includes things like devices, is 300 million. So half of the money, 600 is the total, half the money of lobbying, 300 alone is for pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah.
And health products, the devices, the stent things you get put in and that type of thing. $300 million just in lobbying.
Wow. And so what lobbying does, that money goes to politicians.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a
yeah, 300 mil.
there's an incentive that they don't want this to go away.
And that's just for 1 year. I want to make it very clear. That 300 million,
Okay.
295 million is just for 2019.
Okay.
2019, 300 million.
Do you know what the Medicare for All plan would cost?
Do you?
I do.
Okay, tell me.
I know it off the top of my head.
Excellent.
According
to whom, though? That's the question.
both NPR and Elizabeth Warren. They might have just
Okay.
been quoting her
Okay.
her numbers, but it was $20.5 trillion.
How much?
$20.5 trillion over 10 years.
Oh, over 10 years, so 2 trillion a year.
$2.5 trillion a year.
Okay.
Which is, when you think about it in terms of for every man, woman, and child, or let's just take a family of 4 per year, it is, and this is hard to believe. Let me double check my notes and
okay.
make sure that I have this right. But it is, gosh, now I've blown it, but
No, you blown it.
because I was going to say no, it is $30,000 a year. I was going to say 30, and I thought maybe it was just $3,000 a year. It's $30,000 a year for 10 years for every family of 4.
That doesn't make...
And
family of 4.
Family of 4,
Okay,
but
so
it's still $30,000 a year that it would cost in taxes to pay $20.5 trillion.
Well, that sounds about
for
right.
300,
Well, that's
million
about right,
people.
because you know what healthcare costs the United States? $10,000 per person. So family of 4 would be 40,000. So
Wow.
so
that seems
so
crazy high.
In 2016, the cost of care in the U.S. came to $9,982 per person. And remember, that includes people that don't have
That
health
don't
care.
go.
That
Yeah.
don't go.
Yeah.
So it's actually much higher than that for people that do go.
Wow.
Whereas this, what you're saying is it'll actually cover more people for less money.
Well,
That's what they're saying, of
yes,
course.
but okay, so Elizabeth Warren says it won't cause a middle class tax increase because she's going to tax.
But you've already
the
got a
wealthy.
middle class tax. It's called health insurance. We're paying it already for
Yeah.
worse results. Actually, this statistic, here's what I wanted to read to you. The U.S. has 19% fewer practicing doctors and 25% fewer nurses and 26% fewer acute care hospital beds per person than the average country, the average developed country. That's what I was looking for.
Okay.
That makes more sense to me. We have less physicians per head count. I want to make it very clear also, because people ask me all the time about the United Kingdom, because I have it right here. Yes, it's true. It takes longer to go and get,
Yeah.
say, a hip replaced. But you'll go and get it. You may have to wait 20 weeks instead of 10, because I looked up the 10. That's the average number. Or a knee replace is 10 weeks in the United States. So it's twice as long. I get it. 10 to 12 weeks. So let's say on average it's 50% higher or 100% higher. But you don't have to pay for it. You don't go broke. You won't get a bill. You won't have to go bankrupt. And everybody has access to it.
Right.
It just takes a bit longer. But here's the other thing. I've said this before, and this is a great statistic, which I hadn't realized. I told you, you've heard me say this before, Jackie, that the average cost of, in the UK, you can get health insurance as well. And I was surprised how many people in the UK actually have private health insurance. It's 10%. So 10% of the people in the UK have you can
And
go
so why do they get that? Just
for things like this. If you have a serious accident or not
it's like a
serious,
supplemental
it's a
insurance
supplemental.
that you don't have to pay deductibles and so
No, there's no
forth?
deductibles in the UK. You just end up if you wanted to go to a private hospital and jump, how should I say, ahead of the queue to have that knee replaced, you can pay.
Okay.
Now the downside is they say here it's expensive, but you're going to laugh at what the definition of the UK cost of health insurance is. The average cost of health insurance in the UK, you're going to laugh, in US dollars, the highest is $2,500 per year for a family of 4.
Wow.
Which of course is the average family of 4 for the UK. For the US is $15,000 a year.
So I'm also curious because a lot of the candidates right now are saying no deductible, no copay, and free prescription drugs.
Right. That's the other thing.
So that would be a
prescription
tough
drugs.
one because even right now we've got Medicare Part A, Part B. There are deductibles that you have to meet for those before you do this, and you actually get charged for a not just your supplemental insurance, but for having Medicare. You have a monthly fee that you pay. So I'd be very, I mean, it just, as nice as it sounds, can we do it all?
Yeah.
And I think
we do it sensibly without scaring people.
So one of the plans also is to include people 50 and over, start there, rather than just demanding it right across the board. But the problem with that is if you're including more people into the program, but they're not the healthy ones, if you're not including the 20-year-olds.
Well, the 20-year-olds will have to pay just through higher taxes. It's just the way it is. They'll just have to pay into the system.
Yes, but if that's the whole reason, say Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders are adamant that it be everybody, it's to bring the cost
Well, you
down.
either have to pay it
if you only have the older people and you only have the sick people.
Well, here's the way I look at it. If you're
it's-
paying health insurance through your company, you don't have to pay twice. You don't have to pay it into the system because you're
Right.
happy with that. So if you're 22 years old in your first job and you're getting it through your company, there's no reason for you to pay into the system. If, on the other hand, you choose not to get it through the company, then you'll get that tax break, for want of a phrase, goes away.
Right.
That's the only way.
So you're for mandatory in health insurance because
It has
we've
to
got
be.
we've got
It has
rid
to be
of that now.
It has to be mandatory health insurance to make it work.
Yeah,
And
that's why I think we're in a pickle right now. We don't.
But that
have-
mandatory health insurance shouldn't be the equal amount that you would pay if you're going through a private health company or private insurance. It should be like a tax. I understand what they were saying with the Affordable Care Act, but is that it was.
But I think the big flaw in the Affordable Care Act was there wasn't just a major medical option. If you're 24 years old, you don't need to spend all that money on insurance. Maybe
No.
you just need major
No,
medical in case
because-
something catastrophic
exactly,
happens.
you should-
And that wasn't an option, and I think that was a real
You
flaw.
should be allowed to say, I'm 24, I'm 28, I'm going to live forever. Which, when
Right.
you're that age, you just think you're going to live forever, and
I'm healthy.
and I'm
I know
healthy, so I'll just pay for this small amount because my contribution, I'm not going to take anything out, so I'll pay
Right.
minimum in. I mean, I don't know, but here's the other thing I wanted to say to you is, this is the big one. You and I spoke about this before, and when we do the Amazon show, which we haven't spoken about today, I'm going to put a plug in.
Okay.
We were doing the show for Amazon Prime, sometime in April or May. No, what I'm talking about, March or April, the end of March. Is the cost of prescription drugs.
Okay.
Right. So the other statistic I have, which I want to get to, is the amount of lobbying specifically just on prescription drugs. And the 300 million includes devices and everything, but just on prescription drugs. Here's the difference also. In the UK, the cost of prescription medications is capped at $11. That's it. That's
for any drug?
Of any drug, you pay $11.
Wow.
So, for example, insulin. We've talked about this many times. Insulin in the U.S., which is sold and manufactured by only three drug companies, two of which aren't even American. We can do a whole show on this, and you're going to have to let me do something.
Oh my gosh.
Well, you are going to have to let me do something
I know, but
on Eli Lilly. Please, Eli Lilly, come on. Who didn't even pay. It was given to them for $1. insulin. Okay, I'm going. Okay,
But there
okay.
are other drugs
Anyway,
we don't talk about that you should talk about, because there's plenty of drugs, whether it's high blood pressure medicine or cholesterol medicine, that people can get for $3 and $7. So there are lower cost
There are, but
alternatives for drugs that people do take every day.
There are.
That's why,
generics.
right, but that's why I think the insulin is such a catastrophe.
It is a catastrophe. People are
because
dying.
There are no options for people.
Right, but in the UK, and again, I'm not holding up the UK to be the Shangri-La. There are issues. Wait times, they want to get that done. If you go to what they call the A&E, which is the same as ER here,
Okay.
A&E stands for accident and emergency. Yeah, they get overwhelmed, right? There's definitely issues, but I'm just focusing on results. Life
Right.
expectancy, all the other stuff you've
But we
heard
do
me.
also have to talk about the fears people have of
I get it.
good doctors going away
Yes,
and
yes.
not wanting to be
But
in
the
field.
fact that you only pay a maximum, let's say $10.
Yeah, we know
for
that
a
the pricing
prescription
can come down. then.
well, yeah. So here's come down.
And here in America, I mean,
Yeah,
we need to be realistic.
yeah, we do. I'm not saying we throw the baby out with the bathwater, right?
Yeah.
So guess how much? So basically, the insurance companies, you brought those up already.
Yes. Tell
How
me.
much they're not included in that 600 million. Guess you think what they spend on lobbying? We forgot about them. So for insurance companies, they have their own lobbying groups.
Absolutely.
$80 million.
Yeah.
$80 million.
And that's why I think we will eventually get to a nonprofit medical system, whether it's the insurance companies
Yeah.
or because I mean that's even advertising on television. Why are prescription drugs allowed to be advertised on so I can go to my doctor and say, no, I think you're
I
wrong.
saw this-
I think that I need Cymbalta.
Yes,
I
exactly.
mean, what is that about?
Right, and there's remember the actually,
And that's why those drugs are even more expensive.
and there's some of these drugs out there. There's a couple out there that are so expensive. Yeah, a lot of the basic research was done by government labs, and then that research is given to these drug companies, who then do a bit more research. I'll grant you that, and then they actually spend time and money to market it, and then they walk away with the profit, because the US government doesn't share in that research
well, they may
bounty.
help fund the research.
They did.
Yeah.
No, the drug companies, they don't fund the research.
No, I meant the government.
I'm
It's-
before someone writes me. No,
I know.
clearly the U.S. drug companies fund research. I get that, but some of the breakthrough research has come from government labs. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Okay. So what do you think? Do you think here's the problem, right?
Yeah.
You've got good health coverage. Oh, so I had a friend of mine say this to me.
Okay.
He goes, Langley, I'm gonna. What is it when you get 65? What is it? I always get confused.
Medicare.
Medicare. He says I'm entitled to it because I paid into it.
Yes.
But that's actually not true.
No, we all paid into our paycheck. He didn't get a paycheck?
No. What I meant was
Oh.
the higher income bracket you are,
Mm-hmm.
over 200,000.
Okay.
And I've got the research on this. Again, it's for another day. Because he kind of, I was shocked by his attitude. So I
Right.
went and did some research. So I'll save it for when we're at the pub over a beer.
Yes.
But I'm going to get these numbers slightly wrong, so I'll just focus on percentages. So if you make a higher income, and remember, as you earn higher money, you pay less, because that money you pay into the insurance goes away after you pay 120. Let me start again. If you make over $140,000 a year,
Yes.
you now don't pay any more money
In Social Security.
in Social Security,
Correct.
right? So if you make $1 million a year, then you're actually financially better off a lot, not just in making more money, but you're contributing less as a ratio towards
That is
Social
correct.
Security.
Yes.
Here's the amazing. So therefore, someone who's making over 200 grand a year, they actually, for every $100,000 in money that goes into, on their behalf, into Social Security and healthcare from when they're over 65, which they then don't have to pay for, they actually, on average, cost 30% more. So you live, in other words, if you, instead of dying at 90, you died at 80, the
Right.
country would break even. But if you live longer,
Right.
then we're subsidizing you. The younger
Absolutely.
generation is subsidizing
Yeah.
you. So, and even if you
And
make...
that is the intention of it.
No,
Right?
no,
I
well,
mean,
no. But you know what I'm saying is my friend was wrong. He's not
Right.
getting his own money back. He's getting his own money back.
There's no way we could pay in as much as we're needing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he's paying it. He
Yeah.
paid in
Even
a
if you
lifetime.
started working
right when you were 2.
12,
yes.
yeah.
He paid in a lifetime of money into the system.
Yeah.
But on average, unless he dies at 80 or actually 72, he's going to take out a lot more money from the system
We all
than he
are.
ever paid in.
Yeah, I think, and that's why the system is imploding, right?
Yes.
Is because we're
So-
living longer.
Yes.
We're hopefully living healthier.
Hopefully.
And it's unsustainable.
So, okay, so we boiled the ocean yet again.
Mm-hmm.
We've done healthcare, we've done the opioid crisis, we've done prescription drug prices before, we've done bullying. What did we do last week? I don't even remember what we did last week.
It was something fabulous.
Something
But so,
fabulous.
but
So what's our answer? What would you say? What do you want
I
to do?
have to
what,
be
would-
honest.
what do you want to see happen?
I would like to see Medicare for all who want it, and
Okay.
have those programs grow into what people actually want. Right? That way, those fears of the waiting lists and the waiting lines and the
Going
bad
bankrupt.
you know,
going
not the
bankrupt.
best, not getting the best doctors. Yeah, I think that Medicare for all who want it, and ease into, you know, if people,
no, do you think
if
any-
it's good, people will go to it. Just like the ACA, I know that people will say how flawed it was, but the truth is each year more and more people got on it. They realized, hey, this is pretty good. I like having insurance. And that wasn't intended for everybody. That was just only intended for the uninsured Americans. So it was interesting to see that people got up in arms about that when it didn't affect most
I don't know
people's
why.
lives
I don't
at
know why
all.
people would get upset about it. It doesn't make any sense
Well,
to
I
me.
think it was the
Socialism,
beginning of
socialism. Socialism.
and universal health care, which has been, you know, ever since Bill Clinton was president.
Socialized medicine.
It was Hillary Clinton's plan
they
to
call
get universal health care
Yeah.
coverage, and that was the
Well, it is again.
90s.
If the United States had better results for the same money, we could be sitting there going, "Why aren't we even considering it?"
right.
But we got worse results for almost twice as much money.
Plus, don't we have about 50 million Americans who don't have insurance?
No, it's like 20 something, 25 million.
Okay.
There's people with who are underinsured.
Uninsured and
underinsured.
underinsured,
I guess you get to that. So, anything else you want to add? You want to talk about the Amazon show a bit? What do you want, or any, the Super Bowl, or anything else going on?
Oh, well, yeah, I think we should talk about the Super Bowl.
Go ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So I had my sister call, and she was saying, "Hey, did you see J-Lo and Shakira?"
Oh,
And
yes. What did you think of
actually,
that?
I had only seen a snippet of it because we were playing ping pong, honestly, and so
Okay.
it was a little distracting. I was like, "Oh, hey, she looks pretty good."
For 50.
I saw her like in her. It was very Cher-esque,
Yes.
I guess, in her like onesie,
Yeah.
you know, in her tights, and I thought,
We
you
were
know,
watching.
bravo, good for you.
Well, we were watching it in a man cave with an 18-foot screen, and I
Okay.
can tell you that was like three-dimensional porn coming right at you through the
Okay,
screen.
so then, because I hadn't seen the whole thing,
Mm.
and then I watched it the other day on YouTube from beginning to
Wow,
end,
you did.
and I went, oh, I think that's what she was talking. It was very in your face.
It was very in your face.
It was a little bit more than I realized that it was. I was like, wow.
The amount of effort that went into it, though, the choreography was just incredible.
Yes, but then you bring out little kids. That was weird.
One of them was a daughter. The girl who was singing apparently was
that
J-Lo's
was her
daughter.
daughter.
Yes.
And I just thought you go from being on a pole and a lot of very sexy moves to bringing out the kids. It wasn't the family friendly, but you know, our generation, I remember seeing Madonna go to the MTV Music Awards
Yeah.
when she was rolling and writhing on the
Oh.
ground singing like a virgin. And I remember being shocked by that. And I guess that's what entertainers do.
I was
to be
told I didn't
memorable.
find it that shocking. I just found it almost overwhelming in its choreography. It's almost like they were trying too hard.
It was a lot. It was a lot. And,
I found it
you
fine.
know,
I was with a bunch of guys. We're smoking cigars. We're watching it on an 18-foot screen.
And did they get thumbs up or thumbs
And they
down?
gave it a thumbs up. They
Yeah.
were actually you know what they
Shocking.
were all rooting for? They wanted wardrobe malfunction. They were looking. They wanted a wardrobe malfunction. All right.
I don't even. Yeah.
So all right. So
Well
again,
done.
so you're
Yeah.
okay. So I think actually we're in agreement this time.
Yeah.
Medicare for all if they want it.
if they want it. Yeah, there's no reason to
There's no reason not
stop-
to do that.
To disallow corporations who are willing to pay for let them pay
Exactly.
for as long as we can get
Whereas
away
Donald
with it.
Trump promised to fix healthcare, promised to build roads, promised to do no socialism. Clearly, that's been blown up. Reduce the deficit in 10 years or pay off the debt in 10 years. Clearly, those things haven't happened. I think healthcare should be the number one topic. It's a winning topic, I believe, for the Democrats. Can I just say this, though? If only they get their head out of their ass. That's their problem.
I was going to say it's not a winning topic if they keep saying Medicare for all, including illegal immigrants.
Who wants that? Which one of them wants that?
Bernie and Warren.
Yeah. What about Klobuchar and
Klobuchar, Biden, and
Buttigieg?
are all more moderate.
Okay.
It's more of an expanding of
Where does
the
Bloomberg
ACA.
stand on these?
Good
know?
question.
We don't know.
We'll have to
We'll have to
do it. We'll have to do a deep dive
We'll have to
into
do a deep
Bloomberg because I don't.
Well, like I said at the
I think-
beginning, I've got friends of mine who think Bloomberg's the guy now.
And he might be. I don't know enough about him. He's just entering. I've been watching these other people for the last year, so
Okay.
I'm very familiar with them. And we'll have to do a deep. Maybe that's what we do next week. A
So do
deep
you
dive
want-
into Michael Bloomberg.
Do you want to give your email address so people don't write to me anymore, please? You want to, so it's Jackie, JACQUE at VOTRC.com. Yeah, don't write to me anymore, Mr. Rip, whatever your name was. That long. Anyway, I can't read them.
No, they could just comment on the YouTube.
They can go onto
videos.
YouTube, but
Yeah.
we're also going to be on Amazon, which is great. And again, we try to focus on facts. And everything I just said, to my knowledge,
Yeah.
is factual. Yes, I mean, yes, I have an opinion. I do want to see, like you, Medicare for
Right.
all with, if you want it. You have to have a better phrase than if you want it, but by choice Medicare for all or something.
Something like that.
But everything else I think is factual. The average, number of physicians. And again, I just feel resentful that no one really on, and this is not a political statement. I'm just singling out the Republicans, not because it's an anti-Republican statement. You would have thought this would be on their list of things to fix.
It is.
Why
and
are they
Donald
on
Trump, he touted it at the State of the Union that
Oh,
he
did
is, yes, that he is all for the keeping the pre-existing condition clause in there, like no more.
By the way,
no
that's the only
more
thing
will
my
insurance
friends agreed on.
companies
That's the only thing my
be
friends
able
agreed
to
on.
say.
How big of him? Meanwhile, people are still going broke because they can't
meanwhile,
afford health
he's
insurance.
taking the ACA to court
Correct.
to try to get rid of it.
Because it's
So
not his invention. If it was
it's-
called Trump Care, he'd be all for it. He
well,
would be
we
the
may
best.
end up with that.
Oh my God, could you imagine? All right, so my name is Jonathan Langley.
And I'm Jackie Noah.
And we want to thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be on Amazon soon. We're on.
We'll see you here next week.
Yes, we'll see you here next week.